going to go ahead and call this session of the Lowell City Council meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Terry Sayer tonight is going to be leading us in an invocation. Please remain standing with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Most gracious and heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this day and this life that you have given us. We ask that we be mindful of those in Connecticut that have lost and are hurting. We pray that you would encase them in your mighty hands and take the pain away. And Heavenly Father, we thank you for each and every council member here and the opportunity to serve this city in this capacity. And it is in your precious and holy name that we do pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk would read the roll call, please.
Thomas Evers.
Here.
Eric Shine.
Here.
Terry Sayer.
Here.
Jeanette Lassiter. Here. Keith Williams.
Here.
Kendall Stuckey.
Here.
Dean Bittner.
Here.
Paula Aldred.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. There's some items that have come up on the agenda that we would like to add. We'd like to add item number 6, 7, and 8. Number 6, dealing with the resolution removing the finance director, Cindy Cangalosi, as a second party to sign checks, replacing her with finance director Jerry Hudlow as second party to sign checks. Item number 7 would be a request by finance director Cindy Cangalosi for approval to shred documents. And then item number 8, ordinance setting priority of application for time payments on fines and costs in district court, declaring an emergency and for related purposes. I would like to bring that to y'all's.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve amending the agenda.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Jeanette Lassiter, and a second by Terry Sayer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Thank you. That brings us to our consent agenda items. The minutes of the last meeting on November 20th, and then the financial statement for November. I'm sure you had a chance to look at these. Give you a couple minutes here to look at them and ask any questions or any comment that you would like to make. Any correction to the minutes? Any question pertaining to the financial statement for November? Give you about another half minute there.
Mayor, I do have one small comment.
Yes, sir.
It looks like we were pretty well spot on with our budget for 2012, both in revenues and expenses across the board. Staff's to be commended for living within our means as best we could.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Eric Shine and a second by Keith Williams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Have you got your public forum? Okay. Brings us to time of public forum. We'll open the public forum at 6:37. It's time you can approach the council. 2 minutes. We have one that's listed tonight, Ronnie Breland. Would you like to address the council now or later? Later on one of the agenda items. Okay, thank you. We close the public forum at 6:38. We have some presentations tonight, and this is one of the things that this was sadness, but Paula Allred and Terry Sayer, could you come around the front here, please? We have two council members who've been serving the city here for 2 years, Paula for 6 years. And we just want to appreciate the both of you for your great service to the city, your dedication, your commitment. And we just want you to have this as a memento, recognition of everything you've done as a council member the last 6 years. Paul, thank you very much. Barry, also your 2 years of service as well. Thank you. Would you like to make a comment about your service in any way? Not at this time. Let's get it. Appreciate you very much. Reminds me of Christmas. It's so quiet in here. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Terry and Paula, we both just really are appreciative of your service the last few years, and thank you again. That brings us to old business, which we have none. And so that takes us immediately into new business, where we have an ordinance setting forth certain regulations for the sale of alcohol, beer, and wine in the city limits of Lowell, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. So let's open that up for discussion tonight. Who would like to be first with a question or comment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask a question in Section 2.
Section 2,
Yes, sir.
dealing with the fees.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Actually, it's actually dealing with some of the language.
Okay.
A, B, and C is talking about wholesalers, off-premise, and on-premise. I just want to get some clarification. I attended a great meeting in Bella Vista put on by the ABC, and I wanted to make some clarification on what we were referring to as far as wholesaler.
Wholesale, by the way, I understand it, and Tom is here to answer any of the legal definitions that I might miss, but is someone that is selling something stronger than beer and wine. It's the hard liquor, so to speak. So,
Because that's not how the state of Arkansas recognizes it, and that's why I wanted to get
It's
that.
this. So there's nothing in Arkansas more heavily regulated than the sale of alcoholic beverages, except maybe youth sports, maybe, and like high school sports, high school football. And so we aren't going to, and we haven't in this ordinance, make any definitions or do any kind of regulation that doesn't follow what the state requires and then fill in the blanks where the state asks us to do that. And so this ordinance only fills in those blanks. What a wholesaler is what a wholesaler is according to the state of Arkansas. And what that is that if you're going to resell alcohol in Arkansas, you can only buy it from a few places. In other words, you can't go and buy your liquor in Nevada and bring it to Arkansas and sell it. You have to buy it from a place that is licensed to sell to you for resale. And that's what a wholesaler is, very simply. It's very possible, because of Lowell's fantastic location on the I-540 corridor, that wholesalers may want to begin to locate in this area so they can serve both packaged liquor and convenience stores and places that want to sell by the drink in both north and south of Lowell. And so that we want to make sure we addressed what the privilege permit would be for a wholesaler if in the event that happens.
Okay, now what you just said absolutely makes sense and goes along with what they were talking about, a wholesaler. Now, the hard liquor is not a wholesaler. They can be a wholesaler, but they're not specifically.
If somebody wants to be a wholesaler, they're going to have to come to us after they've gone through the state permitting process.
Correct.
To become a wholesaler.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was clarified, that was what we were talking about as a wholesaler.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
point out an error on this page.
Error, where's that at, Jeanette?
Emergency clause should be section 5.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Emergency clause should be section 5.
There are two invisible sections between those, Jeanette, that you're not allowed to see. So actually the ordinance is correct.
I can't approve anything I haven't seen.
All the rest of us can see those sections. Everybody else can see them?
I can see them.
I think it's just Jeanette who can't see them, right?
It's the glasses.
On section 4, the 1,000 feet and the 50 feet is referring to, were those the fill in the blanks, or is that a state?
Those are state requirements, and we merely wanted to restate those because there is some question right now in Arkansas, and there always is, as to whether a city can make those longer for very specific purposes. Right now, the mayor was when he gave me marching orders, he said, I want to make sure we get something so that people know what to expect in our city, in Lowell. And we weren't looking to change anything, just to make sure people knew what to expect. And so that's basically telling people who are going to locate stores here, we intend to follow state law. We don't intend to test it one way or the other.
Are we capable of being more stringent than that as a city, meaning pushing that out farther?
Are we capable of being more stringent, pushing it out farther?
Meaning, could that 50 go to 500 feet?
May I answer it this way? The gentleman who is in charge of, if not enforcing the law at the state ABC, certainly in charge of administering it at state ABC, says no. So the state of Arkansas says no, we are not capable of doing that.
Mayor, with respect to section 3,
Yes, sir.
the very last line, sales of liquor, beer, and wine for off-premises consumption are prohibited on Sundays and Christmas Day. I'm all right with that, certainly, and I will go along with the wishes of the body as a whole. Is there any fear that we will lose some potential revenue to our city to the south, as Alderman Evers so affectionately refers to it?
There may be some loss of sales, but the thing that we've got to remember is that we want to engage in this incrementally. The fact that the police department, Chief Harvey, and I have had some discussion, and once you swing the barn door open, it'll be hard to close it back up again in one sense. We want to give time to see whether or not it's going to affect our human resources within the police department, which there would be associated expense with that. And so, yes, it will affect some of the tax revenue, early on. But we still feel that it is a good place to start off with so that we don't jump the gun, so to speak, and what could, in the event, happen with more DUIs and those types of things and the extra administrative fees that we would have in the police department and into the city. So that's one of the reasons that we do not have Sundays on there. And then we found it was quite common to limit sales on Christmas Day when we were comparing other cities in the area. So.
Mr. Mayor?
Any other questions? Ron, is this where you wanted to speak? Go ahead and come up, please.
There you go.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, and Mr. Keklak. My name's Ronnie Breland. I live at 315 Links Drive, apartment 201. I was looking at this ordinance that you drew up, and I got to looking at it and wondering why you wanted an emergency clause put on it. Then I got to looking at the ABC control, Arkansas Beverage Control, and their rules and regulations as defined through the Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration. And it's really quite lengthy as to what all the regulations are. And when I got to looking, there's only certain convenience stores that you can actually put it in, that you can actually sell beer in. And places like Easy Mart and stuff like that. The way I read it, you couldn't actually sell beer in Easy Mart, from the way I gathered it. Now, I know they sell alcohol in restaurants. Alk & Barrel does. I mean, that's already been there for years. I'm not sure how they measured the distance on this. Maybe Mr. Keklak can shine some light on it.
Ronnie, that was a question that Bill Cruz, another agent, how's he doing, by the way? Good. He's at home? Well, good. He met with Police Harvey, or Chief Harvey, with us on that very issue. And what it came down to, I had some concerns on that it might be the adjacent plat. But what we found out by definition, when you get in there and dig, it's by the corner of the building to the closest corner of the structure. So you're measuring from structure to structure, not plat to plat.
So you're not right.
So whatever the closest angle of that building is to whatever the concern is on the other side of the street or nearby, you take a measurement from that point. Am I correct on that? I think so.
So you're not running straight line?
Yeah, you run a straight line.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That was one concern. And just like Councilwoman Lassiter had mentioned about the emergency clause, Section 7 to Section 5. I was going to ask Mr. Keklak where, if I could see Section 5 and 6, because it's not there. Is there Section 5 and 6 to this ordinance?
As far as you know.
No, that wasn't my question. My question was, is there? So that's a question. It's either yes or no.
That's a typo, Ronnie.
Okay, so if it's a typo, then this would need to be amended.
No, it doesn't need to be amended.
We can fix that here.
No, okay. But if you would just take into consideration about looking up this and reading this, because there's a lot of definitions and about where you can put them and everything, and who can sell it, and what percent has to be sold out of the place. It cannot be alcohol before the alcohol can be sold. And if it's like a convenience store, the stuff that's sold in the convenience store has to total more than the beer. And as far as your wholesaler, the way that I read this, it's a place that provides the alcohol. Like, say, if it was Anheuser-Busch coming in and delivering, but it cannot, your beer cannot have advertisements on it, is the way this defines it. So, anyway.
I have a question about that, though. How would the city or the state ever regulate if a person came into an Easy Mart who had the authorization from the state to sell beer? If someone came in and bought all their beer supply out over the weekend and bought more than they did in groceries or snack food?
Good thing you asked that, because that states that in these definitions. That's in this. They have to give them so many days in advance for an order.
Well, I mean, an order, like if they were trying to play a wholesaler, which they wouldn't be allowed to anyway, correct?
Thomas, let's thank you for your comments, Ronnie.
All right,
Appreciate
I just
it.
wanted to get that.
Eric, excuse me this moment. Eric, would you introduce your guest? And would you?
I'm sorry. Yes, I invited Rick. I'm sorry, your last name. Chrisman. From the Arkansas Beverage Board. ABC.
ABC.
Yeah, ABC.
ABC.
Yeah, I'm the Deputy Director of the Alcoholic Beverage Control. I think part of the problem, what you're misreading into that, is you're looking at the word liquor as everything. In the ABC, we separate liquor from alcohol. Liquor is the hard stuff, the spirits, Jack Daniels, Evan Williams, things like that. And then the alcohol in the convenience stores, I don't know. We may need to talk so I can clarify it, because I don't know what you saw that has clouded what you're looking at. But convenience stores absolutely can sell beer. They can sell it up to a certain percentage of alcohol, which is 5% by weight or 6.3% by volume. I know Bud Light makes a Bud Light Platinum. That's 6% alcohol. That's by weight. That's by volume. Our regulations specify by weight, 5% by weight, which if you transfer it over by volume, it's 6.3%. So they're free and clear to do so with that. That's not. If it's anything higher than that, then that stuff has to be sold with a liquor permit, which we haven't even touched yet in this county. We're still a couple months away from even looking at that, because that's going to be quite the undertaking. I can tell you right now that the past 2 days and last week, we've worked probably 60 alcohol permits for Benton County. Several of them were right here in Lowell. I wasn't the person in Lowell doing it. I was up in Bentonville dealing with Easy Marts up there. But I know one of our agents was definitely here working the applications and documenting and doing the measurements and things like that. Now, the 50-foot rule, from my understanding, never actually happened. They tried it and it didn't work. It got shot down. So there is no rule or distance for a retail beer permit. There is no distance. Liquor stores, it's 1,000 feet of a church and a school. But the 50-foot rule never happened. And I just shot a text to my boss just to make sure that didn't happen. But I know they tried it and it didn't work.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So you were talking about the couple of months delay. How soon could we expect Easy Mart to come and go to be selling beer?
They could sell beer as soon as January 17th. And the reason I pull that magic number out of the hat is because the process and to get a retail beer permit or a small farm wine permit, they submit the application, it gets sent, they send out a packet to the business. and it's back on whoever's name's on the permit, it's up to them. They have to run an ad in a paper for 2 weeks. They have to show proof that they did do that. And then they have a posting. And I'm sure you guys have seen the big yellow sheet of paper that's up in the window at a lot of these places, explaining that they have applied for whatever, whether it's retail beer or small farm wine or whatever it is. They have to post that for at least 30 days. Once those 30 days is up, then it's eligible to go in front of the board at the next board hearing. And the board meets every third Wednesday of the month. So we know, based on when these permit applications were sent out, that none of them are going to make the permit or the board hearing tomorrow. We have one tomorrow. I'm going to Little Rock tomorrow to be down there for that. But the next available one is January 16th. So if everything goes the way it should go for the Easy Mart folks or whoever applied, if there's no snags or anything, they could be granted that permit that day. The reason I say the next day is because they're probably looking at probably 70 to 80 permits. We'll probably run out of a couple ink cartridges in the printer to print those permits. So it might be an extra day before they actually get their permits. And that goes with the restaurants, the private clubs. They all have to post those things the same way, 30 days.
Mayor, with that information in hand, do we want to clean up Section 4 and strike the language, no convenience store or the retail outlet selling beer or wine?
I'd double check it.
Right, I could never find the 50 feet. I looked even more than Ronnie, and I couldn't find the 50 feet.
Okay.
But other cities had 50, and we were advised by staff of ABC that 50 was what they were going to use. Now, agreed, we've got staff telling us there's no rule, but
Yeah.
it's probably reasonable to anticipate that. But it keeps us consistent with our neighbors.
As a wise young man once said, what the council does, the council can undoes.
Agreed.
So am I hearing that you would like to amend the ordinance?
Let's leave it as written, and we'll adjust it
Leave
if
it as
necessary.
Okay. Because it has as defined by applicable Arkansas law, so that's a safety catch.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve the ordinance as written with the typographical changes as necessary.
Second.
I have a motion by Dean Bittner and a second by Eric Shine. Thank you, Rick, for coming and giving us some information and express next time you see Bill, our concerns for him. So it sounds like he's doing better to be home.
Dean, did you suspend the rules on that?
I bet you are. Any other further discussion before we have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor, if I may amend my motion to do pass, suspend the rules and place it on its third and final. The emergency clause is written into it, so we don't have to adopt it separately, right?
Okay.
Yes, you do.
And I'll amend my second to.
And you need to make a third and final reading by title only.
Okay, let me get this right.
Suspend the rules, place on third and final reading by title only.
So we have a motion was made to suspend the rule and place ordinance on third and final reading by title only.
Yes,
Who
sir.
would like to make the motion there?
Me.
Dean
Me,
made, and
so-
and
you're gonna second it again. Okay. Here we go. Roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Present.
Terry Sayre,
No.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Paula Allred.
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule and place ordinance on third and final reading by title only was approved. I will read the ordinance by title only. An ordinance setting forth certain regulations for the sale of alcohol, beer, and wine in the city limits of Lowell, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Motion was made to approve the ordinance with emergency clause as presented. Motion,
So moved.
Eric Shine. Second.
Yes, Dean Bittner, sorry. Second.
Roll call, please.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
No.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Terry Sayre,
No.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Dean Bittner.
Yes.
Motion to approve the ordinance with the emergency clause as presented is approved. And it's given ordinance number 922. Ordinance number 922.
922. Motion to enact the emergency clause as presented.
So moved.
Is that Keith?
Yes.
Second?
Yes.
Second.
Second by Eric Shine.
Although actually, yeah, but
Paula, did you, okay, Paula actually
We'll give
beat
Paula.
Eric
I
to the
said it quietly.
punch there. Roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
No.
Eric Shine,
yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Terry Sayre.
No.
Motion to approve emergency clause as presented was approved.
Thank you. That brings us to a resolution to approve an interlocal cooperation agreement for hazardous materials incident response services in Benton County and to authorize the mayor to sign the attached agreement. I'm sure there may be some questions on this. Mike Morris, would you please make your way forward? There he is.
That was quick.
You should have the new resolution that was not in your packet. Did everybody get the added resolution in your packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mike, why don't you give in a nutshell why this is necessary and just a little bit of the history of Washington-Benton County that started 25 years ago with the Metro Chiefs, so that kind of know what's going on here.
Yes, sir. There's an organization called Metro Chiefs Association of Northwest Arkansas, which is a organization of all the paid fire chiefs in Washington and Benton County, and was formed 20-some-odd years ago. With the original purpose, there was a hazardous material response. Back up. There was no organized hazardous material response for emergencies in the two counties. The need was seen. The need was met by the organization of a two-county regional hazmat team, of which a number of the bigger departments got together and each contributed a certain number of members to this regional effort to response for hazardous materials. As time has gone on, those departments have improved dramatically their capabilities for hazardous material response. And so recently it was decided in the Metro Chiefs meeting to recommend to both counties to dissolve the two-county regional team, that the cities be the larger powers that could handle most anything that came about. In Benton County, that left us a little uncomfortable. Actually, in both counties, it still left us a little uncomfortable. So we as a Metro Chiefs voted to disband the team. I'm sorry, we voted to recommend to the IGCs of both counties that the team be disbanded. And that was voted on within the past month by both counties and was approved in both counties. So at the end of December, that team will no longer exist. It will go away. In response to that, Benton County then approached the 5 large entities that are in the county or partially in the county, being Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, Bella Vista, and Siloam Springs, and asked them if they were willing to divide the county up into 5 territories, if you will, under a one-county team, a Benton County team, contributed to by those 5 members. Now, since that time, Lowell has also become a contributing member to the Springdale team, as we were originally. We have 2 members that were in the two-county team. They will be transferring over to the Springdale team as well. So, that being said, in order to make all of that work, there has to be another intergovernmental council agreement between all of the entities in Benton County to put this back together within just our county. And this authorizes the mayor to sign that interlocal agreement, is in a nutshell what's going on.
You have in your packet the memorandum, and you also have the final resolution that the judge will sign with the other associated cities. And that was a little bit confusing probably when you received your packet, but what we're referring to right now is this resolution that was added. So this is what we need to approve tonight. Any other question for Mike?
Mike,
Go ahead.
do we have any idea on what the fees are specifically? It mentions like there's a per capita fee.
Yes, ma'am. For the last 10 years, we've paid based on it's 38 cents per capita.
Okay.
And that only changes every 10 years. For the last 10 years, we paid on a 2000 census. This new fee, even if the old team had stayed, the new fee will be based upon the 2010 census. And I don't have the budget directly in front of me, but it's a little bit less than $4,000, and it's in my budget.
That was going to be my
Yes,
next
ma'am. It was
question,
already
have we
pre-budgeted.
for it?
It came out to 3,700 something and some.
Yeah, I rounded it to 4,000, I believe, in my budget to make sure it was there.
Chief, just
But we did check that, Paul, and the money is there in the budget.
Yes, sir.
just to be clear, your personnel will continue to be cross-trained with other other cities in the area?
Yes, actually, it's a two-step process for us. We're going to continue to train and work with the Springdale Fire Department as part of their team. Now, we will, in the future, be going to our own, as we grow our department, it will become mandatory that we will be hazmat techs here as well, and eventually taking over our own city.
Will those personnel who participate, will they still be compensated for their hours and travel?
That's my intention. I'm waiting at this point to find out for sure from Chief Irwin what their plan is going to exactly be, and then whatever their plan is going to be, my intention is to match it.
Good. Thank you.
No further.
Mayor, I move that we adopt this resolution as presented.
We have a motion made by Jeanette and a second by Terry Sager. Roll call, please.
Terry Sayre,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Kirk Shine,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter.
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution as presented was approved. Resolution will be assigned Resolution 12-18. Resolution number 12-18.
Thank you, council. Judge Bob Feinert and myself and Mike, appreciate that. Brings us to item 4 on our agenda, appropriations of funds memo. A memo to authorize a transfer of unallocated funds for the purpose of meeting unbudgeted expenditures for 2012. Payroll.
You skipped
Number 3.
Oh, I skipped 3. Well, I sure did. I'm trying to move things along too quickly. Huh? Okay. Resolution adopting an amended 2012 budget for the city of Lowell. And we have our new finance director tonight, Jerry Hudlow, to present this. And Jerry, welcome to the city of Lowell.
Thank you. Thank you. Council and Mayor, this is a housekeeping measure that we do at the end of the year. Our minor funds, we do not budget them at the first of the year because you don't know what the revenues and expenditures exactly will be for that minor fund during the year. What we're doing is balancing out those revenues and the expenditures. Also, as an example, in the STEP fund system, we installed more systems this year than we had anticipated, which is very good for the city. That means our building is up. But with the installation, of course, that meant that the expenditures on those installations rose above what we expected. Now, on the other side of that equation, of course, the revenues are higher than what we anticipated also. So again, it's a balancing of those revenues and expenditures is what we're trying to do here.
I thought we usually got a copy of it, the amended budget.
There's not many changes to be made, but I do not have a copy of it for you, ma'am. And I'll be happy to make one for you of all those that we amend.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we approve the resolution.
Second. Motion by Keith Williams to approve the resolution, and we have a second by Eric Shine. Roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Terry Sayer.
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution as presented is approved and assigned number 12-19. Resolution is assigned number 12-19.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, council, for approving that. Now we'll come to item number 4 on our agenda. This appropriation of funds memo to authorize a transfer of unallocated funds for the purpose of meeting unbudgeted expenditures for 2012 payroll expense of the new finance director specified herein. Cindy, would you like to come forward on that, please, since we're having a passing of the baton tonight, so to speak?
We're sharing the responsibility tonight. Does anyone have any questions about this? This is just to pay our new finance director for the time that he's worked in 2012.
If we don't pass it, does he have to give the money back?
Can't give back what he doesn't have.
We haven't given him any yet.
Oh, okay, so if we don't pass it,
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the appropriation of funds.
Have a motion by Dean Bittner.
Second.
I have a second by Terry Sayer.
Just this once, Mr. Hudlow.
Roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Terry Sayer.
Yes.
Motion to approve appropriation as presented is approved. Appropriation is assigned number 16-2012. Appropriation is assigned number 16-2012.
Thank you. That brings us to the amended agenda. No, that's on the regular
No, it
agenda.
doesn't.
One more.
Number 5. So, appropriation of funds memo. This is a memo to authorize a transfer of $15,500 of general fund unallocated funds into the court department, professional services in the amount of $9,500, and into the administration department, professional services in the amount of $6,000 for the purpose of meeting unbudgeted expenditures in the professional services line item as specified. Jerry will explain why this is necessary.
It's to pay Tom, isn't it?
It's Tom's fault.
To put a fine point on it,
So
yes.
if we vote no on this,
No, you can't have the money back.
First, I say that my wife certainly thanks you for passing the last ordinance. This ordinance here, yes, ma'am, is to pay Tom. Actually, we've been paying Tom. This is the ongoing problem with the city attorney that we have, and this will get us out of the negative numbers and back into the positive numbers here for on our expenditures for the end of the year. Currently in court, we're over by, in the professional services line item, over by $11,000. So you can see we're not appropriating all of the money. In administration, we're over by $37,000 in that one particular line item.
Any other question?
I kind of feel sorry for Tom, so I'll go ahead and move that we approve the appropriation of funds.
Second.
Motion by Keith Williams and second by Jeanette.
Did you hear that, Tom?
Merry Christmas.
Ready to vote? Roll call.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Gary Sayer,
Yes.
Paula Allred.
Yes.
Motion to approve appropriation as presented is approved. Appropriation is assigned number 17-2012, assigned number 17-2012.
Thank you. That moves us into our amended agenda. Item number 6 will be resolution removing Finance Director Cynthia L. Cangalosi as second party to sign checks and replacing her with Finance Director Jerry Hudlow as second party to sign checks. This is necessary housekeeping procedure so that we get the accountability set up on the checks that we need here. Any further discussion about this or question?
Make a motion to approve as written.
Second. Motion by Dean Bittner. And was that Eric? A little quicker down there. Eric Shine with the second. Roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Terry Sayer.
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution as presented is approved. Resolution is assigned number 12-20, number 12-20.
We hate that, Cindy.
What I like
Item
is,
number 7 is a request by the Finance Director Cindy Cangalosi for approval to shred documents. These are documents that have already been audited and more than 3 years old. And
I'm really glad to see that you promised never to make this mistake again.
I will never make this mistake again. I can promise.
In the next 2 weeks, you will not make this mistake.
No, it won't happen again. Proper procedure would be to get your approval prior to shredding the documents. I failed to do that. I shredded them, and now I'm asking for your approval. I didn't shred them personally. I had them shredded.
I move that we give Cindy the approval.
Miss Cindy,
Requested.
I needed a receipt from 2008, though.
So if we vote no on this,
We have to fire her. We have to fire her. There's no other choice. She's,
Put it back together.
we have some tape.
I have a
We've
question,
got
Tom.
tape
there's a
involved.
motion on the table.
There is a motion.
I'll second it.
Question.
So we have a motion by Jeanette Lassiter. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Eric Shine. Any further discussion?
So you can have
I'd have a question. Well, I mean, it's already been done. I mean, what's,
Act in the middle of a motion.
we're going to approve her doing it? It's already been done. I mean, I don't
Yes.
really understand.
It has to be on the record for the auditors that we approved it.
I understand that part of it, but I mean, it's like,
It's a
The
housekeeping thing.
retroactive housekeeping action,
I think we have to bless it retroactively.
yes.
No ill will intended, I assure you. So, roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
no.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Gary Sayer.
Yes.
Motion to approve request as presented is approved.
Thank you. Brings us to item number 8. This is an ordinance setting priority of application for time payments on fines and cost in district court, declaring an emergency and for related purposes. Tom Kicklack is going to have to explain this because I know very little about what's involved here.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a result of a very long story, and I'm happy to answer any questions about it, but I'll be as brief as I can be. There is a very good chance that in the legislative session coming up in 2013, that the legislature will pass a law to change the way our district court applies its time pay payments. Anyone in Lowell who gets a fine is arguably eligible to pay their fine and their costs out over time. When they do, our computers when we receive the payments, the $10 a month, $15 to $20 a month, it's put into a computer, and our computer divides the payment equally between fines and costs. That is, unless there is restitution to a victim that's also been ordered. Restitution is always paid first. We believe in Lowell that if there's a victim of a crime that's entitled to restitution, that we should pay that victim before we pay ourselves or the state of Arkansas, and so they're paid first. The law would change that, and the law would make it so that every time pay payment is paid first to costs, and that money goes directly to the state of Arkansas. And then after all the costs are paid, then it's paid to restitution and then to fines. That would mean that the city of Lowell would be the last person to receive the money, for a citation that its officers issued. Time payments also tend to be a process where people take a long time to finish. They make several payments and they stop. A warrant is issued. They're eventually stopped again, maybe even arrested. They get back on time pay. They continue. In other words, we would have to alter our budgetary process quite a bit to account for the fact that we'd be receiving either a lot less total fine money or we get our fine money a lot later. The people who are responsible for that legislation, proposing it, proposed that any city that had an ordinance in place by December 31st of this year would be grandfathered in at that ratio of division. That's in the proposal. And so once I learned that, which was just a few days ago, I have tried to get anyone I represent to hurry up and pass this ordinance. Now, the news is spreading because I called other folks I've represented before around the state and asked them to consider the same. And I don't know that if we're successful and we're too successful, they may just take it away, that grandfathering possibility. But it is worth a try. Now, I would expect that the Municipal League and the city would fight a passage of that law. But so far, the district courts, their judges and the circuit judges and the AOC, the Administrative Office of the Courts, have won every battle they've fought with the Municipal League in the cities. And so I don't like our chances. So I'm urging us to pass this ordinance. It won't change anything that we're doing right now, but it may give us a chance to keep on doing it the way we're doing it.
If it doesn't change anything, why is there an emergency clause?
It has to be in place by December 31st.
I'm not willing to risk that. They would say it had to be effective on December 31st. And I thought out of an abundance of caution. And, Jeanette, I don't prefer emergency clauses either. You know that. I'll never put one in automatically. But as you can see from the language of the emergency clause, I specifically talked about how we want to be prepared just in the event we do get this benefit.
Tom, do you have any idea of what legislator will be introducing legislation?
Well, the meeting was between the Circuit Judges Association and their lobbyist, the District Court Judges Association and their lobbyist, a representative of the AOC, and I'm told a representative of the governor's office. And that was a meeting in Eureka Springs, I think was supposed to be secret. So between those four organizations, there's just a whole host of folks that can get to carry this.
Yeah.
And if the governor wants it done,
Circuit judge, district courts, a governor's office rep, and who else?
The AOC, the Administrative Office of the Courts, which of course, would fall under the governor's purview. But they're the ones that have driven most of this legislation. It is the district courts, city courts, that is, city courts in Lowell and other cities are very, very good at what they do. They work extremely hard. They don't spend any money they don't have to spend. They work hard on collecting all the money they should. They work hard on supporting police departments. Police work hard on supporting them.
For those of you that are going to the winter conference, you will certainly have an opportunity to visit with a number of legislators. And I would encourage you to become well versed on this issue and get those men and women by the ear when you have the opportunity. That's what we do.
That's right.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the ordinance as written, reading it on, placing it as third and final reading by title only and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made to suspend the rule and place ordinance on third and final reading by title only. Okay, that is made by Dean Bittner.
Second by
Someone
Evers.
seconded it, right? Thomas Evers. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Yes.
Terry Sayer,
Yes.
Dean Bittner,
Yes.
Paula Allred.
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule and place ordinance on third and final reading by title only was approved. I will read the ordinance by title only. An ordinance setting priority of application for time payments on fines and costs in district court, declaring an emergency and for related purposes.
Thank you. Motion was made to approve the ordinance with emergency clause as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Jeanette Lassiter. Second, please.
Second.
Terry Sayer. Roll call, please.
Kendall Stuckey,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Thomas Evers,
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter,
Yes.
Keith Williams.
Yes.
Terry Sayer,
Yes.
Paula Allred,
Yes.
Dean Bittner.
Yes.
Motion to approve the ordinance with the emergency clause as presented is approved. And ordinance is given number 923. Ordinance number 923.
I hear a motion to enact the emergency clause as presented.
So moved.
Keith.
Second.
Second by Dean Bittner. Roll call.
Keith Williams.
Yes.
Kendall Stuckey.
Yes.
Jeanette Lassiter.
Yes.
Eric Shine.
Yes.
Thomas Evers.
Yes.
Paula Allred.
Yes.
Dean Bittner.
Yes.
And Terry Sayer.
Yes.
Motion to approve emergency clause as presented was approved. Is approved.
Thank you. That brings us to our committee reports. Dean, do you have anything to report on the ordinance committee tonight?
Mayor, I'm sorry to say that we did not have any meetings since the last council meeting. We'll work on that and certainly start the year fresh.
Dean, do you have an idea of when you might hold the next ordinance meeting?
I think probably the second week of January.
Would you?
That's Muni League.
I'm sorry, ma'am?
That's Municipal League.
No, ma'am, that's a little bit later. Trust me.
18th, I think 16th through 18th is municipal league.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll meet sometime the week prior to that.
Could you make sure I get a?
Absolutely. You bet.
Just because I won't be up here any longer, that don't mean I won't have my.
No, count on you.
There you go. Any other committee to report? Okay. Under announcements, Don Harkins, why don't you stand up back there? Not like we don't know you, but you look like you just need to stand up for a minute. You're looking at the Employee of the Year that was decided. I think we caught him off guard the other night, and we may have caught him off guard tonight. But,
I'm honored to accept this, but we've got a group of hardworking, dedicated individuals on staff, both fire department and building services, that make my job easier. And I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Don. We had a great Christmas party, and appreciate all the commissioners and all the council members that put energy and effort and finances into that. It was a tremendous time. Under announcements, we have the J.B. Hunt Senior Activity Center open house and ribbon cutting scheduled for December 19th at 2 o'clock, and then there'll be a open house that follows from 2:30 to 6 o'clock. I think I've forwarded most everyone the agenda on that. Cecile Bledsoe will be there, and some others to cut that ribbon, and so I'm looking forward to the official opening of the senior center. And tonight, excuse me?
We need to announce open house for the 21st.
Would you like to?
I would, thank
There
you.
you go. Pull your microphone down.
I'd like to remind everybody that we're having open house Friday, the 21st, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We will have the open house at the museum and here in the City Hall. We will also have a band called Breaking Silence who will play from 5 to 6 over in Heritage Park. And we definitely invite everyone to come. There will be refreshments, and there will be goodies for the children that come. And we heard that Santa is going to make an appearance.
Any other council member have an announcement?
Mayor, real briefly, the matter of the city attorney's absence. We'll have to address that sometime in the near future, I'm sure.
We actually are prepared to give a few comments tonight.
Okay.
Would you like to go ahead and do so, Tom?
Right, you wanted to specifically mention the AGO or?
I think we might as well.
Okay. Dean, thank you for bringing that up. And so the Attorney General issued an opinion which said basically this. It's a very long opinion. It's extremely well written, well reasoned, well researched.
Do you have the number?
And it said this. I don't, Jeanette, but I will get it for you. And it says this. It says, you've asked me several things. One of the things you asked me was, I'm going to do my best to paraphrase. You know, if the city attorney moved out of town, is he ineligible to serve? And the Attorney General wrote back and said, that's a matter of fact for a fact finder. I'm not a fact finder. In other words, he says, only judges can determine those kinds of things, and I won't do that. Then he went on to discuss, though, very clearly that the next question was, you know, if you're not a resident, are you eligible? And he said, you have to be a resident if you're a city attorney to be eligible to serve. The next question he answered was, well, if you're not in town, if you don't live there, and conditionally, therefore you couldn't serve, what has to be done to remedy that? And the Attorney General gave three methods. One was a taxpayer lawsuit. One was an action by your prosecuting attorney called quo warranto, a Latin phrase basically meaning, you know, think quo, what, warranto, what's your right? You know, what is your warrant to be here? Basically, it's an authority like a prosecuting attorney asking a public official, typically in an election contest, you know, what is your reason? Why do you think you deserve this seat? So a quo warranto suit, or a very similar thing like a mandamus kind of a suit. The fourth question was, well, does the council have the power to declare it vacant? And the Attorney General opined no, the council doesn't. Here's a place where he and I disagree. And so we were left with that, basically those results. It doesn't really change the status. It didn't answer the question in a way that sort of enforced the law, which is the constitutional law, the constitutional requirement, which is you have to be a resident. In order to pursue the Attorney General's sort of advice, we have to have a meeting with our prosecutor. and we're seeking that literally right now, to see if the prosecutor is available and if the prosecutor feels that that would be appropriate.
So the issue of domicile was not,
The issue of domicile was discussed for several pages in the opinion, and it's discussed as to, the state of the law, basically. It's a very, very well-written opinion on the state of the law. It leaves us with absolutely no conclusion, They're all going to be fact by fact, and
so it's going to have to be in court. Either we give in or take it to court, basically.
I think the Attorney General advises that in his opinion. That's his opinion. Attorney General's opinion.
As it was explained to me, Ms. Lassiter, where an individual says his domicile is where his domicile is. The example that I received was that if he lived in his mother's basement and claimed that's where he lived, then that's where he lived, and that the courts have long held that that's true.
Well, I know there was some question, though, was the definition between residence and domicile.
What I took away from my conversations were that where they say they live is where they live, and that the courts have held that to be true, irrespective of how many days or nights they lay their head there. Am I telling that right, Tom?
I'm going to follow up and say that the Attorney General also made it clear that the courts in Arkansas have said, if you're lying about that, you're lying about it. And if you're lying about it, you don't live there, then you're not eligible.
You're just going to hell, or what?
No, it says you're not eligible. I mean, but
if you say
don't have
you're
any,
living
you have
there,
no way to prove it.
But again, that's the Attorney General was merely restating what, in his opinion, the state of state law is. So I don't think.
So that counts for council members and mayor as well. Then, if he says he lives in an address, the mayor or Dean Bittner, and that's where he lives, whether they live there or not, and that's only going to be if you get caught.
I don't think that's what the Attorney General's opinion says. I think that the thrust of it is that the Attorney General advised the city as to sort of what methods it has at its disposal, and the mayor is considered that and would like to pursue at least a conversation with the prosecuting attorney, and he has been absolutely stellar in cooperating with this city so far. It was he that obtained the opinion for us. It was he that authored the questions, and has done a fantastic job and has given great service to us, a city in his county. And so we'll go in there with open minds and discuss that with him.
I guess, how about this, Tom? I mean, like, now that we've got to this point, and this has been going on for 4 months or 3 months, I'm not sure now, how quick do you think we'll have a remedy to this? Or a solution, or a...
Park Central?
Well, it's a long time, all right.
Nothing in government work happens fast.
I wish we had a crystal ball where we could answer those kind of questions, Thomas, but we'll just have to take it one meeting at a time. I think we would begin with the meeting that
you have a meeting
Mr.
scheduled.
Kiklak is trying to set up at this point. So.
No, I think it was. I think the mayor wanted to make sure that y'all were sort of aware.
We knew we had not, come to y'all with any information recently, and I felt it was appropriate tonight to kind of summarize you where we're at with that, because we want to pursue this right after the holidays. So.
That essentially will be an opinion from the prosecuting attorney?
It could be an action from the prosecuting attorney.
Could be an action. Okay.
But again, it's hard to get anything done in December, and so we thought it would be wise to let him.
Is that based on essentially the information that we were given when this all started? Is that what his opinion is going to be based on, or his action will be based on what we've already seen?
The prosecuting attorney can undertake his own investigation, absolutely.
Okay.
He has the power to do that.
Because it was, I know with the evidence we were presented from both sides, I think you could argue that either way. So just was curious what his take on that would be.
What lawsuits are made of.
Any other announcement or?
Mayor, I think Ms. Allred has something.
Oh.
I'd like to move to adjourn.
Before,
I have something before
you do that,
I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas.
Well, very Merry Christmas.
Merry
to
Christmas,
you,
everybody.
Jeanette.
See you on January 2nd for the swearing in.
I'm going to ask you to hold your motion just briefly because it's with sadness that I have a resignation, official resignation here tonight. So
Not another one.
Cindy, she has written this and she laid it on my desk, and it's we need to record it in the minutes. And so it is with a heavy heart that I tender my resignation as Finance Director for the City of Lowell. As you know, my mother lives with Pete and I, and the time has come that she is no longer able to be at home alone. Therefore, I will retire from the city on December 31st, 2012, to become a full-time caregiver for my mother. It has been a wonderful experience to be part of your administration these past 2 years. I believe that family is the most valuable and precious part of our lives, and I will greatly miss my extended family here at the city. We are having a official, somewhat of a luncheon here. When is that? Is it tomorrow?
Thursday.
Thursday. So if you'd like to make your way up here and extend your appreciation for these 6 years of service to Cindy, please do so. We're going to miss you greatly, Cindy. And
We'll also
thank
be
you.
losing Sheila Boyd.
Also be missing her as well at that point. So some people retiring. So I will accept that now. You want to read?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So we have a motion by Paula Aldred and a second by Jeanette.
Action.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Objections, like sign. No objections, the meeting is adjourned at, what is it, 7:38?
Okay.